Welcome, everyone. We're going to get started in just a minute. Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started in just a minute. We're just letting everyone log on. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the End-User IT Outsourcing Services vendor engagement. Before we get started, we would like to go over a few webinar notes. Can everybody please raise their hand to confirm that they can hear me? Perfect. Thank you all so much. I would like to remind everyone that you can switch between your computer audio and phone call. The attendees will be muted, so if you do have a question, please submit it in the Q&A, and the handout will be available after the webinar. To get started, I'm going to go over our speakers for today. We have Stephanie Harrison with Procurements, Tu Van, she's a procurement lead, Marie Cohan, the statewide digital accessibility officer, and then Patricia Robbins, hub coordinator. I will now turn it over to Tu Van.
Thank you, Brianna. Good morning. My name is Tu Van Huynh, procurement lead for the upcoming End-User IT Outsourcing Services solicitation. Here's a quick overview of what we will be covering today. We will go over the engagement goals and solicitation scope, DIR overview, corporate contracts, solicitation process, general information for vendors, hub subcontracting plan, setting up tax for Texas vendor account, digital accessibility, next steps, and then finishing off with questions. Next slide, please. Thank you. Echo with what Brianna was saying earlier. This event is designed to engage with potential respondents or others that have an interest in the RFO. Certainly, DIR is sharing information. However, we are also interested in your feedback. Participants may use the Zoom communication feature to ask questions and seek clarification regarding upcoming RFO scope or solicitation process. Provide feedback regarding this upcoming RFO, including current stage of the end-user IT outsourcing services market or other aspect. Next slide, please. Market engagement goals and solicitations. The goal of this engagement is to allow better solicitation responses by informing vendors, new and old, of upcoming solicitations, as well as receiving input from vendors on what we could do better this time around, promote hub vendors networking, remove any barriers that might be present, promote healthy competition, and ultimately reduce costs. Next slide, please. This will be a re-solicitations for RFO, DIR, CPO, TMP 442. DIR expects to scope the following categories, but not limited to provisioning of equipment, desktop outsourcing services, asset tracking services, service desk, on-site support, and moves, add, changes services, remote support services, standard and ad hoc reporting and documentation, break fix maintenance services, unwind end of engagement services, mobility, hosted virtual desktop services, network management services, software services, and security services. DIR is looking for partners that understand the agency's business needs and work collaboratively with DIR and other vendors, partners to provide best value to the state of Texas. Next slide, please. We're looking for a partner who understand DIR customers' needs and offer best value solutions, who offer solutions and deliver methods that meet next generation customer demands, who can deliver on that understanding through offering to contribute to overall success for DIR, its customers and partners. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. The DIR delivery service broken down into 4 parts: policy planning, do-it-yourself IT, communication, and outsource manage IT. Policy planning, DIR is responsible for IT strategic plan for the state of Texas and knowing what the plan is for the next year, projecting out 3 years, maybe 5 years down the road. Cooperative contracts is the do-it-yourself model or self-service model where customer can go procure their hardware, software products and services, use our DBITS contracts, utilize our staffing service contracts, and take advantage of our bulk purchase initiatives. DIR is also responsible for Capitol Complex Telephone System. If you work in an agency near the Capitol or you call your legislator, the CCT is a product of DIR. We are also responsible for internet and network operations for the state of Texas. For all of our customers who use this services, security operations and keeping the state secure and our operations secure for customers who utilize DIR services. These are handled through our Network Security Operations Center. And lastly, shared technology is the we do it for you model of services available for our customer. These services do require an agreement with DIR and include our data center services, the texas.gov portal. So if you go onto the texas.gov and renew your car registration, the texas.gov portal is product of DIR. The open data portal is a free state reciprocity for public data. A security services which are services available to help keep our customer system operating securely. Next slide, please. DIR eligible customer include Texas state agencies, county and local government offices, and public education entities of all sizes. Our contracts cover a wide variety of information technology products and services and are constantly expanding to meet the needs of our customers. Customer eligibility can vary by contract and service area. Therefore, vendors are encouraged to visit DIR homepage for updates. Next slide, please. Benefits of using DIR corporate contracts. With our user-friendly process, we save customer money, time, and simplify sales process for our vendor partners. Customer can leverage the state's buying power to lower prices, contain best value, and buy in bulk at an aggressive discount without the need of a lengthy procurement process. This resulted in significant savings. Procurement is a lengthy process. DRR have done the heavy lifting of procurement already. Customers no longer have to prepare competitive solicitations or evaluate submissions from vendor, which shortens customers' procurement process significantly. Customer can easily search for products and services and filter the results and quickly find the vendor that right for them. Next slide, please. Each year, state agencies and public organizations relies on DIR to find and purchase technology, products, and services. In fiscal year of 2025, customers purchased over $3 billion of products and services through corporate contracts, which resulted in $270 million in saving for states of Texas. And 25% of that was spent with hub vendors. The top 3 customers purchased were from state agency, local government, and K-12. Next slide, please. The solicitations process consists of 3 phases: planning, solicitation, and evaluation and award. The planning process involves hosting pre-solicitation notice, holding market engagement like we have one today, and requests for comments. After we are done with planning, the solicitation will be posted on ESBD. It is important that you read the solicitation carefully, pay attention to the schedule where you will find pre-proposal conferences and questions, answer period, response instructions, evaluation criteria, value adds. During the evaluation and award phase, we will conduct administrative review, go over past fail criteria, seek clarification, and conduct evaluation, and then negotiations. Next slide, please. Planning provides the opportunity for DIR to engage incumbent and potential respondents through vendor engagement notices and other pre-proposal events. Forum for incumbent and potential respondents to understand the corporate contract program and DIR's vision. Opportunity for DIR to engage with potential respondents and discuss the upcoming solicitation scope requirements. Next slide, please. Furthermore, provides vendors lead time to identify and share with DIR new scope categories and market changes, identify and share with DIR lesson learned and improvement opportunities, ensure good standing with state of Texas, engage with hub partners, obtain reseller letter of authorization if applicable. And by the way, this is a service contract, so of course there will be no reseller for this RFO. Obtain accurate and current VPATs if applicable. Develop accurate and current with the PDAA. Next slide, please. During the solicitation process, DIR will post the solicitation to the SBD. Solicitation includes background requirements, response instruction, high-level evaluation criteria, key dates associated with the procurement, potential contract documents, etc. DIR entertains vendors' questions during the designated period through a rolling questions and answer process. If something is not clear, ask for clarity. Do not make any assumptions. DIR may post addendums to their solicitation. Be sure to monitor ESBD for updates. DIR will establish designated point of contact, which is me for this, or I will be your point of contact for this solicitation. So avoid any attempts to contact agency personnel not listed at the point of contact for this solicitation. Doing so could lead to disqualification. Address all response instructions. Neglecting to comply may cost you points, but could also lead to disqualification or hinder further consideration of your response. Review response, review it again and again and again. Don't submit an incomplete response. Make sure it's a comprehensive package. Acknowledge all addenda posted. Make sure someone with authority to bind respondent signs it. Next step, please. Things to keep in mind during evaluation, negotiation, award. Be patient as we evaluate responses and prepare for the next steps of our process. Be sure to comply with agency interaction policy. Avoid contacting DIR personnel beyond these identified in their solicitations. And as you can tell, we have repeatedly in many areas to avoid contacting DIR personnel beyond those who are assigned to this contract. DIR may conduct vendor discussions to clarify DIR requirements and or responses. DIR will notify respondents once evaluations are completed, and DIR has identified the apparent awardees to indicate whether you are invited to negotiations or not. Next step, please. DIR consider any new information obtained orally or in writing throughout the process. Excessive exceptions to DIR standard term and condition may result in delayed negotiation and or no longer being considered for potential award. Lack of response to DIR inquiries may result in cease to negotiate actions. Next slide, please. From DIR website, which is dir.texas.gov, on your right-hand side, you will click on Selling Through DIR. Next slide, please. And then you will see Selling Through DIR. You will have options. The one I want you to click on is the Schedule of Solicitation Opportunities. I want you to bookmark this so that you can come back and monitor the movement of our solicitations opportunity, in other words, schedules, because when you go into that schedule of solicitation opportunity, you will see phases. You will see planning phase, pre-solicitations, and posting. And what I want you to pay attention in the posting is when I get to the posting phase, that's where we have deadlines. You have to meet all the deadlines, and if you miss the deadline, you miss the deadline. Please visit the schedule of solicitation opportunities often to monitor the movement of our schedules. Next slide, please. Top 5 reasons evaluation and contract negotiation are delayed or terminated are incomplete responses, missing pricing form, incomplete hub plan, missing or incomplete VPAD, and PDEA. excessive or material exceptions to DIR standard terms and condition, vendor information on respond not matching what is listed in the Dun and Bradstreet. Next slide, please. And here's a list of the resource that you can use. We have them here, available here. It's a Texas Open Data Portal. This is where you can get list of our customer listing, our sales data posted there, and also the vendor encouraged to regularly check the SPD for schedule and schedule opportunity under the information for vendor page. And for more information on how to do business with State of Texas, visit the Comptroller Office webpage. Next slide, please. DIR has a YouTube channel. Please subscribe for more training. Now I turn over to Patricia Robbins for HUB's subcontracting plan.
Thank you, Van. As she said, my name is Patricia Robbins. I'm a HUB coordinator for DIR, and I'm going to go over your HUB subcontracting plan. Next slide, please. All vendors will complete a HUB subcontracting plan or HSP. Please visit the link provided for the most current approved copy of the HUB subcontracting plan. Please do not modify this document. It is an editable copy. Next slide. All respondents, HUB and non-HUB, are required to submit an HSP. Failure to submit a completed, signed HSP will cause your response to be rejected. This is a pass-fail item. There are 3 ways to complete the HSP. You will self-perform, meet or exceed the HUB goal and complete Method A, Attachment A, or not meet the HUB goal and complete Method B, Attachment B. Next slide. The HUB goal for this RFO is 26%. If your proposed subcontracting meets or exceeds the HUB goal set for this RFO, you will complete Method A. Be sure to identify all HUB and non-HUB vendors you will be subcontracting with. Include the anticipated dollar amounts and expected percentages. So you will complete Section 1, 2, 4, and Method A. Don't forget to sign and date your HSP in Section 4. If you are going to subcontract below the HUB goal, you will complete Method B, Attachment B. Be sure to solicit a minimum of 3 HUB certified companies and 2 minority trade organizations. You must allow them 7 working days to respond to you prior to the date of this RFO. Prior to the due date of this RFO, sorry. Include your outreach to these entities, emails, etc. with your HSP. So you will complete Section 1, 2, 4, and Method B, Attachment B. Don't forget to include approximate dollar amounts and percentages. If you will be self-performing, you will complete Section 1, 2, 3, and 4. In your self-performing justification, you will identify how your company will fulfill this contract with its own staff, equipment, resources, etc. Do not say you will subcontract in the future or if you need to. Tell us how you will self-perform. Next slide. If you need any assistance on completing any of the methods, as Tuvan has stated, DIR has a YouTube channel, and these are the links to complete Method A, Method B, and for self-performing. Next slide, please. Our contact information is listed here. Please remember that the HSP is a pass or fail document. We will provide you a complimentary review of your HSP prior to the due date. You must contact us no later than 10 days prior to the due date of this RFO. Your HUB department is here to assist you in completing your HSP correctly. Thank you. I'm going to pass it on to Stephanie. Next slide. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Stephanie Harrison. I'm the Director of Cooperative Procurement here at DIR. And we're going to talk about the new Tech for Texas vendor account system. This is a new system that DIR has rolled out. So if you currently have a bid stamp account, system is going away. We're replacing it with Tech for Texas. So please pay attention to this, because if you are not currently registered in Tech for Texas, you will need to create an account. And we're going to talk about that now. After the solicitation is posted, we will talk about how to submit your response, and that'll be in the vendor pre-solicitation conference. Right now, we're just going to talk about how to set up your vendor account login. If you are a current contract holder with DIR, you more than likely already have a Tech for Texas account set up, because your vendor monthly sales reports for the month of October were due in the Tech for Texas system. So please check with your team members who are in charge of submitting the monthly sales reports for your current DIR contract. They have the instructions to add you as a user, so you will not need to go in and create a new user account. You'll actually get a message back saying that you need to contact your agency's account administrator for Appian in order to be set up in Tech for Texas. For everyone else who is not a current DIR contract holder and has not submitted a monthly sales report, you will need to set up a Tech for Texas account. So in order to do that, you will go to the DIR website, and then there is a tile for Tech for Texas. You can click on that tile, and this will take you to the register login page, which you see here. Next slide, please. This page is your vendor. After you log in or to the page, set up your login and log in, you'll go to the vendor profile page for Tech for Texas. Here you will register your agency to get a Tech for Texas account. You need to enter the following profile information details. So the vendor legal name, this will be verified against Duns & Bradstreet. So if it's not your vendor legal name, you're going to get an error later on in the process. So you make sure it's your vendor legal name. The name must match what you have in Duns & Bradstreet for your company. You need your SAM.gov unique identifier, the number that SAM.gov provides for you. That is your UEI. You need your nine-digit federal employee identification number, your FEIN, your tax number that you file with the IRS. And then you also need your DUNS number from Duns & Bradstreet. All of that information is required in order to set up your profile. I do not recommend that you wait until late in the game to get this, because some of you may need to go to different people in your agency in order to get the correct information to set up your vendor profile. So make sure that you have everything that you need to get started. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to complete the process. The first person that enters themselves as the primary contact for your agency will be, by default, become the account administrator for your Tech for Texas account under DIR. And then you will need the email. Please remember that the vendor name, again, should match what is with Duns & Bradstreet, which should also match what is in your Texas Secretary of State filing. You cannot register only with a DUNS number. Any fields with asterisks are mandatory. And again, the first user to set up the account will become the account administrator, and they will be able to add other people from your agency to your Tech for Texas account. So you won't need to come back to DIR to get additional users added. Next slide, please. The next section, after you complete the initial profile page, you click next, and it'll take you to the hub eligibility type and address page. This is where you're going to, if you have a DBA, you're going to list your DBA. You're going to select the hub eligibility type. This is for Texas entities only that are hub eligible. If you are not hub eligible, please leave that field empty. And then go ahead and complete your address information for your agency. You're going to click next at the bottom of the screen. Next slide, please. This is additional questions that are requested. So the first one is your company registered with the Texas Secretary of State to do business in the state of Texas? It's not required registration. If you make it to negotiations, it is required at that point. And then the second one, you do need to answer that question. Do you agree to use this system solely for intended professional purposes and comply with all relevant guidelines? Click yes, a no is going to deny you your access to the system. You're going to click next at the bottom of this page. And next slide, please. The next slide, the next tab that'll come up is the validate information against Duns and Bradstreet. So this actually will, once you enter your information here, the vendors are going to choose whether to use the vendor's own provided information or DIR's vendor information from Duns and Bradstreet. So you're going to click the chosen option for that. If you choose to use your own information, it's going to go and try to validate that information. If that information does not validate, you will get a notification that there's a disparity and that your account may need more attention. DIR is going to ask for that additional information to clear up any disparities. When you click register at the bottom of the page, a window should appear confirming that the registration for your company or organization and a system generated email should be sent to you containing your login credentials. If or when you're executing any of the previous steps, you're shown a message that an account for your organization already exists. You'll need to contact your organization's vendor admin to get established as a user under your organization's account. Next slide, please. Once you've logged into Tech for Texas, it'll most likely default you to the vendor sales report page. In order to edit your organization's profile or add users to your organization or submit proposals to an opportunity, you'll need to navigate to the vendor management app portion of the application. This can be found by clicking on the icon that we call the waffle over down in the corner, and that'll get you to the other portions of the vendor application. Once you're on the cooperative contracts solicitation, or once the cooperative contract solicitations have been posted and we are able to receive responses, you'll be able to see those in your Tech for Texas account. Currently, there's not any solicitations posted on the Tech for Texas account in order for you to respond to, so you won't see anything posted in there yet. Instructions on how to respond to the solicitation will be included in the vendor pre-solicitation conference. The date for the pre-solicitation conference will be posted in the solicitation documents on the Electronic State Business Daily once the solicitation is actually posted. Just as a reminder that we're still in the planning stages, so we have not posted an active solicitation yet. But once it is posted, that information will be included in the solicitation documents, which are posted to the Electronic State Business Daily. And now I'm going to hand it over to either Marie or Juliana for accessibility.
I'm here. Thank you so much, Stephanie. This is Marie Cohan. I'm the Statewide Digital Accessibility Officer, and I'm going to go through the digital accessibility requirements and forms for the solicitation. Next slide, please. So just a little bit about digital accessibility. There's quite a lot on this slide, so I'm just going to summarize it. Digital accessibility is defined as the practice of designing and building technology that removes barriers for people with disabilities. We want to make sure that all Texans can interact with digital government services, so they can use our websites, they can complete forms, they can apply, and so on. This is all covered under Texas Government Code 2054, Subchapter M. It's also covered in Texas Administrative Codes 206 and 213. And we also follow the World Wide Web Consortium WCAG Level 2.1 AA. This is a new standard that was released last year by the federal government, and Texas is in the process of converting over to this new standard. All vendors must provide the required accessibility documentation at the time of request. So even though you are providing the documentation in your response for this particular solicitation, our customers, our state agencies, universities, whoever's buying off of our cooperative contracts, they can ask you to resupply this document at any point in time, and we ask that you please accommodate that request. Next slide, please. So the three documents I'm going to discuss, the first is a policy-driven adoption for accessibility. This is a vendor self-assessment. It has nothing to do with the product or service offering. It's about the responding organization. The other is a vendor accessibility development services information request. This would be for non-product offerings. And then the accessibility conformance report, which would be for any product offering in the response. Next slide, please. So first, the policy-driven adoption for accessibility, or PDAA, is a spreadsheet that's included in your packet. It is a self-assessment of the responding organization. This is a NASIO-sponsored document. It basically has a series of questions that ask where your organization is with regard to employing accessibility practices in your business practices, if you do project management within your organization, if you do any kind of software development, anything like that. There's a series of questions and there's a score of 0, 1, 2, or 3. That score will help us understand where your organization is from a maturity standpoint. We also include the maturity model in the packet so you can understand those different stages, if you're in an early stage or if you're integrating well or if you're in optimal stage. The spreadsheet only allows for a 0, 1, 2, or 3, and it will total the score at the bottom of the page. If you submit the PDAA with any other symbols on it, or if it's incomplete, or if it's missing, or if it has a 0 score at the bottom, that will receive a failing score. So please look at this very carefully. Make sure you read the questions and add a score on there. Think about your practices within your organization. I'm sure if you look across the organization in HR or IT, procurement, any of those areas, you'll be able to identify where you're already doing some of the work regarding accessibility. Next slide, please. This is the PDAA maturity matrix. So it goes through those 6 areas that are on the spreadsheet, and there's a launch stage, an integrated stage, and an optimized stage. You'll also have links at the bottom here that will take you to those NASIO documents where they explain a little bit more about the PDAA and how it was adopted. Next slide, please. The Accessibility Conformance Report is a completed VPAT. A VPAT is very well known in the industry. It's a voluntary product accessibility template. What the VPAT is basically is just that. It's a template that has all of the WCAG standards on it and success criteria. And when you test your product, let's say you have a SaaS product, you'll go through and test it against each of those standards, and your product, when against the success criteria, will have a conformance level. So will it conform? Will it partially, or will it support, partially support, not support, not applicable, and so on. We would like to see how your product conforms. So did it support or partially support, etc. Anything that's not fully supported, if you identify maybe a small gap, please provide an explanation. There is a field for that. That is very helpful for us in understanding what our potential risk is in the non-compliance part of that product. We look for VPAT versions 2.4 or higher. We also would like to see an ACR, which is the completed VPAT that has been done within the last 2 years. We do get these that are several years old, and those are not useful for us. They don't really give us current information. And it's highly unlikely that your product has not changed over the last 5 years. So we really want to see these updated within the last 2 years. We want to see them on newer versions of the VPAT. And again, this is a document that can be requested at any point in time. Products change very rapidly in today's technology environment. Anything that changes within the code of the application could potentially impact the user interface, which will impact the end user who could potentially have a disability. So this is why we ask for these VPAT versions to be more current, and we ask for those ACR reports to be done within the last 2 years. We want to see more current information tested against the newer standard. Especially if you have a web-based product, it has to must comply with the WCAG 2.1 AA standard. So if you have not tested against that new standard, please do so and submit the current ACR for that new standard. Next slide, please. This is the breakdown of the VPAT template, and these are the WCAG 2.1 AA standards. So this has all of the new standards on it. There are 12 new standards from the last go round with 2.0 AA. It's broken into the POUR principles for WCAG. So POUR meaning perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. That is what we want our technology to achieve, and we want to be perceivable for anyone who has a disability like vision loss or hearing impairment. We want it to be operable with different types of assistive technology. We want them to be understandable for anyone who maybe is neurodivergent, has a cognitive disability, and we want to make sure the technology is robust, that it adapts with different platforms and different browsers and so on. So this is the breakdown of the VPAT, and this is what you would be testing your product against. Next slide, please. Again, those conformance standards are, it either supports with exceptions, does not support, it's not applicable, or it was not evaluated. Not evaluated would apply for anything that's level AAA criteria. In Texas, we only require AA as the highest level. Again, if it's anything but supports, we request that you add an explanation in the field provided. Next slide, please. So now we'll talk about the Vendor Accessibility Development Services Information Request. It's a little bit of a mouthful. This document is specific to Texas. This is how we gather information on any type of development service. So there are very specific questions on there to help us understand how your developers are trained. Are they trained on the new WCAG standard? What kind of training do they take? What does the software development cycle look like? How do you implement accessibility checks in those different iterations of development? How do you test along the way? What type of testing tools do you use? Is it just automated testing? Do you also test with assistive technology? Do you do any kind of manual testing, for example, keyboard-only navigation, to make sure that it is coded properly for that? And so this form has a few questions on it. I ask when you're completing this form, please provide as much detail as possible. The more detail, it helps us understand. There's specific questions on there, around, again, the testing modalities, training that your developers have had, even if you're bringing in developers, like if you're a staffing firm, what do you do to ensure that the developers that you're hiring for the state have that specified training? We also have questions on there. How do you track defects? How do you test for those? How do you remediate? All of that. And then the final question does ask for a sample of work. It's not always possible. We understand that vendors, work on proprietary projects, or, they can't share work that they've done openly. And so if that's the case, typically what we'll do is we'll go to the responding vendor's website and do a accessibility test of a couple of random pages on their website, just to see if they understand accessibility. Next slide, please. So this is just a breakdown of the questions. I kind of went through this just a moment ago. So we want to know about product development and project management processes and those stages. What kind of developer training? It asks for resources. You can provide topics. So for example, ARIA training or specific, like, Java training or something like that. We want to know kind of what development and testing tools were used. So, explain to us the actual tool. Did you use a JAWS screen reader when you tested? And then that JAWS screen reader would be a testing modality using assistive technology. So provide that explanation for us. What kind of documenting, tracking, and resolving of issue and defects do you do? So kind of give us an idea of your processes and your tools. And then there is a question on there. What do you provide? What is kind of your corrective action plan for anything that's non-compliant in the product that you've created? And then again, that sample work. If this solicitation does not have a development component, then you do not need to complete this form. You also do not need to write on this form that this form does not apply to you. We're able to identify that. So again, if your response or the solicitation does not have a development component to it, you do not need to complete this form or submit this form. Okay, next slide, please. So we have additional resources on our website. The templates that are provided in your solicitation packet can also be found on our website with some additional context. These links are provided for you. Next slide, please. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Marie. So what's next? Next will be the release of the RFO, and that will be expected in late November of this year. RFO solicitation conference approximately 1 to 2 weeks following the RFO release. RFO posting time approximately 8 weeks. DIR may consider additional time if it's deemed necessary. Responses must be submitted as specified in RFO by due date. Adhere to point of contact in the RFO once it is posted. Until then, interested party may contact the individual listed on prior slides for questions regarding the RFO, text for Texas, or the hub related matters. Next slide, please. Now we open for questions. Do I have any questions?
So it looks like we just have one so far. It says, how do hub vendors identify successful vendors for an RFO? And you can go on the CMBL and go based off of your NIGP codes to look for similar vendors that have the same NIGP codes that are listed, especially for the solicitation. And you can reach out to their point of contacts on there. It will identify if they are hub or non-hub. And yeah. Will hub standards change due to federal DEI policies? DIR will continue to follow the law. Is this solicitation related to hardware supply and maintenance?
Correct. It's the outsourcing services. So you will be, we're looking for services for the hardware, the maintenance service.
Okay. Do we need a DUNS number to register, or is a CAGE or UEI acceptable?
You have to have a DUNS and a UEI. UEI is the SAM.gov that was covered on one of the slides, and DUNS was also covered on multiple slides. CAGE is not accepted by DIR.
Okay, the next one says, is this co-op considered separate to DBIDS and ITSAC?
It is. It's another type of procurement. This is the outsourcing, the end user outsourcing services.
Okay, this one says, as a hub certified company, how do I identify potential partners? So as I said before, you can go on the CMBL and look via NIGP code. You can do the same thing on our website as well. There's a way for you to look via NIGP code with contracts that are already established, and you can reach out to those point of contacts and see if they work for you. Could you please reconfirm how many hub subcontractors were required as a minimum for the hub subcontracting plan for a company that is not a hub itself? So I think this question is a little misconstrued. It's if you're not meeting the hub goal of 26% and you do plan on subcontracting with hubs and non-hubs, but not meeting the 26% goal, you have to contact a minimum of 3 hub certified vendors and 2 trade organizations. If you do plan on meeting the goal or self-performing, there's no limit for how many subcontractors you can use if you're meeting the goal. Self-performing, obviously, you would just use yourself. As it's hardware and no software, development not required, then we don't need to submit VADSEER form, correct?
That is correct. This is the service contract. So if you are not, so VASR is not applicable for this RFO.
Okay, and it looks like the last one is already being answered.
So the question is what type of hardware? This is the end-user IT outsourcing solicitation, so it's seat management. So you're not selling hardware. You might be able to rent it depending on the scope, but it's either customer owned or leased hardware that you're servicing. So like the computers, the laptops, things like that, where you're providing the tech support, the help desk, you're monitoring the inventory and tracking all that. That's what this particular solicitation is for. Once it's posted, additional information, including all the scope outline, will be included in the solicitation once it's posted.
Okay, and that's all the questions that we have. Oh, we got another one. It says, is there a dollar amount for past performance in order to qualify for this opportunity?
No, this is a $0 contract solicitation. This is for corporate contracts program. So there is no dollar value to the contract.
Okay, that looks like all the questions that we have.
Okay, so I will be, if you have any general inquiries, please email me to vanhuyn@dir.texas.gov. For Texas, for Tech for Texas, email Stephanie Harrison, and for Hub, email Teresa William or DIR Hub. So now do we have more questions?
Yes, ma'am. There's one more. It says, will successful bidders need to advertise contract like DBIDs?
This is an outsourcing. It's not DBID. DBID is you, how do you say it? You develop, you provide, there's the actual development or the the project management. This is the outsourcing service, like and user IT outsourcing services. Like Stephanie was explaining, this is a seat replacement. So our customer will seek a vendor to support them for a service like help desk service, software maintenance services, in that nature. So it is not like a DBID contract.
Kind of to add to that response there. So DIR does not advertise on behalf of the vendors. Once you're awarded a contract, it's up to each vendor to market yourselves to the DIR eligible customers on any contract that you may be awarded.
Okay, that's all the questions that we have.
Okay, that is the end of our presentation today. Thank you.